So nobody is as experienced and as, well, best placed for this job to implement the hydrogen strategy as you are. Maroš Šefčovič, we are happy and glad to have you here. Ursula von der Leyen said that she sends her best man. That's you. Thanks for being here. Maroš, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Jorgo. Good afternoon to all of you, Excellencies, the Minister, the Governor, President of the Commission. Just highlighted how important it is to work with countries you represent, South Africa, Brazil. And I have to say that it's a pleasure to attend this type of events, because not only you have the atmosphere, you are like in some kind of industrial festival, because you have indeed 6,000 participants, but especially because you have such nice introductory works like we just heard from Jorgo. So if you would keep it coming like that, I will keep coming to your events. But thank you very much once again for your kind invitation. I think it was good to hear from the President of the European Commission just moments ago. And indeed, as Jorgo was highlighting, when she asked me one morning in August to take over the role of overseeing the European Green Deal, I knew what an enormous responsibility this would be. I was, of course, also fully aware what an enormous opportunity this would represent, because climate change and biodiversity loss are epochal challenges. With much of the legislative framework for the Green Deal already in place, I recognize that we had to forge ahead with finalizing and, above all, implementing the broad draft of measures we had put forward. The green transition is about reducing emissions and protecting our national and natural environment. But it goes beyond that. It is also about transforming our societies to improve the quality of life and to ensure that our economy is fit for a greener future. To put it in another way, the Green Deal is Europe's growth strategy to ensure that we can maintain our social model and to improve it. And to make sure this becomes reality, we need our net zero technologies, manufacturing, innovation to stay here in Europe, and of course to thrive here in Europe. We want the growth, the quality jobs that the green transition will spawn in Europe to benefit Europeans. That means making sure that our business remain competitive and on the global stage, that they are not forced aside by the challenges they face or by the protection and protective actions of others. The green transition needs to be just, a process that leaves no one and nowhere behind. And to ensure this, I want to deepen an engagement between us as policymakers and all parts of our societies. I mean genuine dialogue, discussion, debate with real follow-up way of concrete actions. And therefore, I'm so impressed and happy that we could welcome also our international partners from South Africa, from Brazil, from many other countries, because what we want is to forge indeed well-balanced, fair trade and commercial relationships. To kick this effort into gear, we are holding a series of green dialogues with citizens, local authorities, social partners and other stakeholders. The first green dialogue took place last month with the focus of empowering consumers on climate change. And we are organizing the clean transition roundtables with industry to ensure that we remain fully engaged with those who are at the core of the implementation of the Green Deal. The first of this took place last month. And the fact that we chose to focus on hydrogen is telling. It emphasizes the importance we attach to your industry. Indeed, we see hydrogen as the missing link in the EU's clean energy transition. Absolutely critical not only for hitting our net zero targets, but also for maintaining our competitiveness and preserving Europe's position as a leading global economic power. So we want to promote the development of Europe's nascent hydrogen sector. And we have set out ambitious targets for the supply and consumption of renewable hydrogen. To ensure we can reach these targets, we have put forward comprehensive legislative proposals on hydrogen aimed at giving Europe the world's first dynamic and integrated hydrogen ecosystem, and giving the industry the predictability and stability it needs to invest in the future. We have also allocated unprecedented funding over Horizon Europe to boost research and innovation along the entire value chain, and this is only part of the massive levels of investment we are dedicated to hydrogen sector. There is more than 20 billion euros in European financing available, including under the Recovery and Resilience Facility, with Repower EU, the Innovation Fund and the Modernization Fund. And we have set up the European Hydrogen Bank to accelerate the establishment of a full hydrogen value chain in Europe. As it was already highlighted by the President von der Leyen, this Thursday we will launch the first pilot auction under the bank's umbrella, supporting innovative and competitive companies to the tune of 800 million euros in funding. It's an important first step to bridge the cost gap between renewable hydrogen and fossil fuels. And we would use this first pilot auction to learn, to optimize the process. So we would come very early on, already at the beginning of next year, with a second round with much bigger volume, as you heard, of 3 billion euros, to make sure that we will be continuing this incremental momentum which we need to overcome all the gaps President and myself been referring to. Why we are putting so much emphasis on this dynamics and on this momentum? Because we know that our job is far from done. And the first key action clearly will be swift and homogeneous implementation of the agreed framework across all EU member states. All the speakers before me have been referring to this, and rightly so. And here I'm appealing to you, because we will need your support and your engagement to deliver the message and to help us to achieve this homogeneous implementation of all what we agreed together. For a start, subsequent auctions for the rest of this billion euros budget under the Innovation Fund will depend on the success of this first pilot. So I would encourage all of you to participate, and I hope, Jorgo, that we will be able, in a very short period of time, to say that first call was oversubscribed, because it would help me to come back to my colleagues in the college, back to the ministers in different councils, to tell them, look, there is a business case, there is a demand, there is an interest, and we just need to work with it and use the European level of harnessing this interest and use this auction system to put the off-takers with the producers together. I believe that through this experience of the pilot first auction, we will be able to improve and enhance the process for all the subsequent auctions we will be planning. I believe that this would also help us to work together on how to overcome the often cited chicken and egg problem. As long as there isn't sufficient hydrogen supply, there won't be demand from the customers and vice versa. So we need to increase the transparency of the market. And to that end, we will publish and regularly update a map of existing and planned hydrogen facilities to give potential suppliers and consumers greater clarity. We are also exploring the possibility of buying hydrogen together, using the highly successful joint purchase of gas under the EU energy platform as a blueprint. I'm confident that this completely voluntary tool could play a pivotal role in aggregating demand and matching it with the future hydrogen production. President von der Leyen was making the reference to this just moments ago. This would also provide guidance on infrastructure development, an area where we must double down on our efforts. And in addition, we need to further accelerate the development of our domestic capacities along the entire value chain. Here we should make good use of non-price criteria in public procurement or auctions as proposed in the Net Zero Industrial Act. And finally, we have already committed significant investment to the hydrogen sector, but I know this must be just the beginning. To produce, transport and consume the REPower EU target of 10 million tons of renewable hydrogen will cost up to 471 billion euros. So we need to be clever in making most of the EU's financial firepower. That means front-loading and streamlining access to funds, such as with a one-stop shop, standardization of formats and application processes. And it means bringing together Europe's financial institutions, public and private, to make the most of the available financial tools. Ladies and gentlemen, the European Hydrogen Week is an important moment for us to take stock of where we are and to plot path ahead. And I would like to thank Sopna for her enormous work, but also for highlighting in her introductory remarks the importance of projects, investment, infrastructure and close collaboration among and with member states. I would like to highlight a few remarks from Melissa's intervention and the accent she put on research and innovation, on the great cooperation with our partners in Africa, in Latin America, and to work on the economies of scale, because all of that is very much needed. And I would like to thank Jorgo for the fact that he didn't choose his career in the talk show hosting, because he does it excellently, as you have seen, but for bringing his positive energy, always great mood, a lot of creativity for the service of the Europeans and for developing the sector of hydrogen in Europe. And I would like to assure you that the European Commission and me personally, that we are fully committed to supporting your industry and strengthening the business case for hydrogen in Europe. We are dedicated to creating an ecosystem enabling hydrogen to be produced here in Europe using domestically manufacturing technologies, because we know that hydrogen will play a key role in the future European economy. So let's make Europe the global home of clean hydrogen. Thank you very much for your kind invitation.